Hello students, today I am here to teach you data representation in your textbook, that's chapter 11. So data representation is about statistics. What is statistics? Statistics is the science of collecting data, then what you have to do after you collect data, organize it, then you have to analyze it, and then take the best possible conclusion. So now we'll see how we can organize data. So we can construct tables or charts to organize data. So here we can draw either tables or charts. What type of charts you have drawn before in previous classes? So you know about picture graphs, what else? Column graphs, and there's another chart called pie charts. So when you draw charts or graphs, visually we can see it clearly and anybody can understand. So here, have you seen these graphs recently? In election time, when you were looking at the TV, you see pie charts, column charts representing the parties with their colors. So it's really important to draw charts and visually understand about the data set. So we'll look at three types of charts today. So first one, picture graphs, and then column graphs, and this lesson mainly about pie charts. So we'll take an example to show a picture graph. So here it says number of coconuts sold for 5 days by a seller is given in the table below. So here Monday, Tuesday, this is the number of coconuts. Show this information in a picture graph. So you need to show this on a picture graph. So how can we represent? Now here these are the numbers. So here what we can do, we have to, these are the days. So here in the picture graph, you have to first write down what are the categories. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, now we can't just draw 27 coconuts here. It's difficult. So we can take a scale. So I can take any picture. So I'll take a coconut like this. And here, look at carefully, these all divisible by 9. So I can take one coconut represent 9. So here what we can do then? So we need to draw coconuts here representing this number of coconuts. So here 27 coconuts are there. One coconut represents 9. So how many coconuts we have to draw? 9 times 3. So here we can draw 9 coconuts like this. What about Tuesday? 36. 1 is 9. How many coconuts we have to draw? 9 times 4. So here we can draw 4 coconuts. What about Wednesday? 45. 9 times 5, 45. So you have to draw 5 coconuts. What about Thursday? 9. Just 1 coconut. What about Friday? 18 means 9 times 2. So you can draw 2 coconuts. So now, without looking at this table, at once we can get an idea. Here, least number of coconuts sold on Thursday. What about the most number of coconuts sold on Wednesday? So when you look at charts, we can get a clear picture. Now we'll look at another type of graph that you have done before. This is called column graph. So we'll take this example to show a column graph. So below is a picture graph of the breakfast taken by grade 10 students. So here one triangle represents 3 students. So first they ask fill the table using picture graph. So here first you need to find out how many students for each category. For milk rice, there are 4 triangles. One triangle represents 3. So here we can find out how many students have eaten milk rice by 4 times 3. So what's the value? You get 12. What about buns? So 3 triangles are there. So 1 is 3 students. So you can write 3 times 3. That's 9. What about bread? How many triangles are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 times 3. That's 15. What about grains? 2 triangles are there. 2 times 3. You get 6. So here are the number of students separately taken: milk, rice, buns, breads and grain. So now we want to show this in a column graph. So what is a column graph? You have 2 axes. The y-axis, the vertical one, we can take as the number of students. And what about the horizontal axis? You can take the breakfast type. So here we'll draw first the 2 axis. So I can take this one and this one as the x and y. Then I can write down the labels. Breakfast here, breakfast type. So what is the y-axis? Y-axis is the number of students. And here there are 4 types. So you need to get 4 columns. Now when you draw a column chart, you need to remember the width of the bars should be the same, as well as the gap in between the bars should be equal. So here what we can do, we can start the first one, milk rice. This is 12. And here we can see this is multiples of 3. So we can first scale the y-axis. That's number of students. So I can take this one. 1 square represent 3. So I can draw 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So the maximum is 15. I can mark the y-axis first because all these numbers are multiples of 3. So 15, 18 like that. And then we can draw the columns. So I can draw this representing 12. So I can draw the column chart like this. So I can take from here. I'll take, this is the column graph for the first one. So I can write down what's the category? Milk rice. What about the second one? Buns. So here I'll take this one as 9 and then draw the column like this. This is representing 9. So here, what's this one? That's buns. What about the third one? Third one is bread. So how many? 15. So I can draw the line 15. So here you have to keep the same space, gap in between columns. So I can draw like this and then color this inside. So that's the, what's that? That's bread. And what's the last column? Last column about grain. So you can mark that. So that's 6. So here you need to draw this bar, this column and color it. So that's about grain. So here, this is called the column graph. So here, what are the properties in a column graph? The gaps in between columns should be the same and the width of the bars should be the same. Now we'll look at how we can draw pie charts. Okay, what's a pie chart? So pie charts, or sometimes we call pie graphs, is showing a circle and the area represent all data. So here we can consider sectors showing all categories. So we'll see today how we can draw a pie chart or pie graph. So here, first thing, we'll take an example. In this one, table showing the number of different colored balloons in a box. Show this information on a pie chart. So here, there are 4 colors. So how can we find out the angles at the sector? So when you draw pie chart, you have to find out the angle at the sector for each category. And then you can mark on a circle. So here, first thing, we need to find out the total number of balloons. When you add this together, so what's the total number of balloons? 15 plus 5, 20, 20 plus 30, 50, 60. So 60 balloons are there. So first we find out the fraction between this number with the total. So here, what's the fraction we are getting? 15 blue balloons out of 60. That's the fraction between the value correspond to that with the total number. And then what you do, now we know when you take a circle, angle around a point is 360. So we are finding what's the angle at the sector for each category. So to do that, we are multiplying this fraction by 360 degrees. So when you multiply, what you get? We are getting 60 times 6, 6 times 15. 6 times 5, 33, remaining 6 times 1, 6, 6 plus 3, 90 degrees. So 90 degrees represent the blue color balloons. And now we'll take the next one. For the red one, how many red ones are there? 5 out of total 60. And when you want to find out the angle at the sector, you multiply by 360 degrees. So 60, this one 6, 6 times 5, 30 degrees. What about the next one? Green ones, there are 30 green ones out of 60. Multiply by 360. So you get 6 times 3, you get 180 there, because 60 times 3 times 30 times 6, 180 degrees. What about the yellow ones? So yellow ones, how many? 10 out of 60 into 360. So 60 times 6, 10 times 6 is 60 degrees. Now we found out angle at the center. So this is angle at the center. Now we can represent on a circle. So here we'll take a circle there. So here we need to mark these angles. So we can start from blue one. So I can draw a line there. First I can draw a line 90 degrees. 90 degrees we know this is horizontal and vertical line. So here I can mark this is 90 degrees. So this is blue one. So I can either color this with blue, or I can use any symbol to represent blue color one. So here you need to show the categories separately. So here I can take a small box like this and show this is blue color balloons. Now we'll take the next one. This is red one, 30. But we know this is 180, green ones. So we can easily draw the green ones first. So I'll take green color one, because this is so I need to draw 180. So here what can I do? I can either extend this line. So this is 180. That's a semicircle. So I can mark this with any symbol. I can mark with stars or whatever you think to represent. So this is about green color balloons. So here I have to do the same thing here. What's the category? I can put stars here. So that's the green color balloons. Now what about the next one? So we need to mark 30 and 60. 30 for red ones and 60 for yellow ones. So we can take red color one. I'll take red color and I need to mark 30 degrees. So 30 is a small angle compared to 60. I can put somewhere here. Here you can use the protractor to measure the angles. So here mark 30, this is 30 degrees, and then this is red one. So I can mark this one as red. So here the category I can do like this and write down that's red. What about the other one? 60 degrees is yellow. You can take anything. So I'll put lines or something. Then this one represent yellow. So this is the pie chart or pie graph. We can see at once the most number of balloons are green color, and then the blue one, the least number is red balloon. So visually we can see it clearly. Now we'll take the example 1 in your textbook, that's about type of lunch packet preferably by 600 people who participated in a Shramadana is given below. So type of lunch packet and number of people given. So here altogether 600 people. So here you are asked to draw a pie chart. So what's the first thing you have to do? You have to find out the angle at the sector for each sector. So here we can find out angle at the center. Fish, there are 250 people out of 600. So here you can write 250 out of 600 multiplied by 360 because angle at a point is 360. So when you simplify this, what you get? So I can cross out this 0 with this 0 and then this 0 with this one, and 6 times 6. So 25 times 6. So what is 25 times 6? I can write 6 times 5, 30, 3 remaining, 6 times 2, 12, 12 plus 3, 50. So 150 degrees. What about the other one? Egg. 150 people out of 600 multiplied by 360 to get the angle at the center. So when you simplify this, you get 15 times 6. So that's 90 degrees. What about chicken? 75 people out of 600 into 360. So when you simplify this, you get 6 times 6 and you get 6 times 75, 450 divided by 10. So that means 45 degrees. What about vegetable? 125 people out of 600 multiplied by 360. 0, 0 get cancelled out, divide by 6. You get this one, and 6 times 125, 750, and divide by 10, you get 75 degrees. Now we need to draw the pie chart. So here we can take the circle. Now we'll mark this information on this circle. So easiest to mark 90 degrees first. So I can mark 90 degrees. That's eggs. So here I can use any symbol. I'll put circles. So that's eggs. Now we'll look at the other one. So 150 and 45. 45 also we can easily mark it because half of 90. So here that's chicken. So I can mark this. 45 is somewhere here. So what about that? That's chicken. So I can mark something like this to represent this one as chicken. What about the other one? That's 45 degrees. What about the next one? 150 degrees, and the other one 75. So here I can mark 150 and then the rest is 75. So here you can use the protractor 150. So somewhere here, because this is an obtuse angle for 150. So here that's fish. So I can mark something like this for fish. That's 150. That's fish. The rest is vegetables. So here 75 degrees. So here this is 75. I can use another symbol representing vegetables. So here I can use this symbol to represent vegetables. So here this is a table given and we can represent this visually using a pie chart. Now we'll look at the exercise 11.1 in your textbook. The first question says there are 40 children in a certain class. Each of these children has selected either dancing, music or art as their aesthetic subject. 20 of these children are studying at art while 15 are studying music. The rest are studying dancing. Represent the above information in a pie chart. So before that, we'll try to organize this using a table. So there are altogether 40 children. They are doing dancing, music and art. Music, art, dancing. 20 of these children are studying art. So here 20 students are studying art. 15 are studying music. 15 studying music and the rest are dancing. So altogether 40 children are there. Now how can we find out number of students for dancing? Altogether we know there are 40 students. So here we can add these two and subtract from 40. 20 plus 15 is 35. 40 minus 35 is 5. So 5 students are doing dancing. And then they are asking to draw a pie chart to represent this information. So how can we draw a pie chart? First thing we need to find out the angle at the center. So here we'll find out angle at the center. Okay, so altogether 40. 15 students out of 40 studying music. And if you want to find out the angle, we multiplied by 360. What about art? 20 out of 40 students multiplied by 360. What about dancing? 5 out of 40 into 360. Or you can just do these two and to get the other angle, you subtract from 360. So here, what's the value? We can simplify. So here, 0 get cancelled out. 4 times 9, 36. So 15 times 9. 9 times 5, 45. 4 remaining. 9 times 1, 9. 9 plus 4, 13. So 135 degrees. What about this one? 0, 0 get cancelled out. 2 with this, you get 2. 360 divide by 2, you get 180 degrees. What about this one? You can divide by 5. This becomes 8. Divide by 2, you get 4. Divide by 2, you get 180. Again, you can divide by 4. 4 times 4, 16. For 20, that's 5. 45 degrees. 45 into 1, you get 45. Now we'll see whether it's correct. Here 5, when you add these two, what you get? 5, 8 plus 3, 11. So 350. 360 minus 315, you get 45 degrees. So that's correct. Now we can try to draw the pie chart. So here we'll take the circle. So easily we can mark 180. So we'll mark 180 first. I can draw 180 and I can draw 45. So this is 180. I can use any pattern to represent. That's art. So I'll draw the category box. With this and write down art. What about the next one? I need 135 and 45. 45 is half of 90. So you can measure this using a protractor. So 45, I can mark. That's somewhere here. So that's dancing. So I can use another symbol for that. And then I can draw the category box. This represents dancing. What about the next one? The next one is music. So 135 is music. So you can keep this blank. This blank one is representing for music. So this is how we draw a pie chart. Now we'll look at the second question. It says the following table provides information on the subject streams followed by the students in the advanced level classes of a certain school. Draw a pie chart to represent the above information. So again, first thing we need to find out the total. So we'll add and find the total. So what's the total? 5 plus 5, 10. 1 remaining. 4, 6, 8. 8 plus 4, 12. So there are 120 students in that school in A-level classes. So here we can find out the angles first. So each category you have to find out the angle at the sector and the center of a sector. So here when you take arts, 45 students out of 120, and then how can we find out the angle? We multiplied by 360. What about science? 20 students out of 120 multiplied by 360. What about commerce? 25 over 120 multiplied by 360. And the other one, 30 over 120 into 360. Now we'll try to simplify and get the angle at the center. Here we see this times 3. 3 times 45. 3 times 5, 15. 1 remaining. 3 times 4, 12. 12 plus 1, 13. So 135. This one you get 3 times 20. You get 60 degrees. This one 3 times 25. 75 degrees. This one you get 3 times 30, 90 degrees. Now we'll see how we can draw the pie chart. So we'll take the circle and you need to mark. So we can easily mark technology part, that's 90 degrees. So I can mark technology part, that's 90 degrees. So here I'll put lines. That's technology. Then the next one I can mark 60 degrees. 60 degrees, use the protractor and draw the line. So 60 degrees I'll measure from here and somewhere here. So that's science. So I can mark this box as with red color. That's science. The next one, 135 or 75. So you can, from here, you can mark 135. So I can, if it's roughly here, this is 135 and I'll use another symbol for that. So here I can mark the category like this. What's the subject? 135 is arts. And the rest, that's 75 degrees, commerce. So I can keep that blank. That's commerce. So this is how we can draw the pie chart for this given information. Now we'll take the third one. The number of newspapers that were sold at newspaper stall on a certain day of the week was 540. The number of Sinhalese papers sold was 210. So we'll mark this information first. Sinhalese papers 210 and the Tamil papers 150. The rest of the papers that were sold were English papers. So altogether, how many papers? So there are 540 papers. So you need to find out how many English papers are there. How can we do? We can add these two and subtract from 540. So when you add 210 and 150, what you get? You get 360. 540 minus 360, what you get? 180. So first thing you can mark 180 there. So here this is 540. So 180 English papers are there. Now we need to find out the angle at the center. So how can we find out? We know angle at a point is 360. So each one we have to find out the fraction with the total amount and multiply by 360. For Sinhalese papers, 210 divided by 540 multiplied by 360. Tamil papers, 150 over 540 multiplied by 360. What about English papers? Either you can find out subtracting these two angles from 360 or you can calculate 180 over 540 multiplied by 360. So what are these numbers? We'll try to simplify this with this. What else? So 6 times 6, 6 times 9, 54. So 6 times 6, 6 times 9. Then again you can divide by 3, 3 times 2, 3 times 3. So 2 and 3 there. Then you can divide by 3. This is 70. 70 times 2, you get 140. This angle, now we found out this is 3 and this is 2. So when you divide by 3, you get 50. 50 times 2, 100. This one, we found out earlier, this is 3 and this is 2. You get 180 divided by 3, 60. 60 times 2, 120. So add and see whether your answer is correct. When you get total 360, that means your calculations are correct. So 4 plus 2, 6. So 360. Now we can draw the pie chart. So how can we draw the pie chart? We can mark the angles. Now we'll try to mark this on the circle, all the angles. So here we'll first mark 140. So use the protractor and measure 140 here and you can mark. So I can roughly, I'll put it here. So this is 140. That's Sinhalese. So I can mark any pattern and the category, it's important. So here I can write this is Sinhalese. That's 140 degrees. Then Tamil 100 I can mark with a different color, measure from here. So here 90 is somewhere there, so 100 I can mark like this, and this represent Tamil paper. So I can draw this one. So that's Tamil papers. Then the rest I can keep it blank. That's English paper. So this is 120 degrees. So here I can draw here with a blank space and write down this is English. So that's how you show this one on a pie chart. Now we'll look at when the pie chart is given, how can we get the information from that? Using the pie chart, how we can answer the questions. So here this is example 1 in your textbook. So the pie chart is given here with the categories. So 4 categories are there. And the question asks, the above pie chart illustrates how a certain TV channel which telecasts programs 18 hours a day has divided its telecasting time between its programs. For which type of program has the most amount of time been allocated? So when you look at the graph, pie chart, at once we can see this is the most number of advertisements or whatever the channel type. So what is that? What's the category? So that's that recreation. So here you can write down which type. So for the first one, you can write recreation. Then second part they ask which type of program has the least amount of time been allocated. So the smallest sector, the angle at the center should be the smallest. So which one is the smallest? This part. So that's advertisements. So here we can write advertisements takes less time. Now we'll see the next question. Same pie chart. The next question, it says, what is the magnitude of the angle at the center of the sector which denotes the time allocated for educational program? Now, educational program, we can see this is this one. So here it's given 90 degrees. So here how can we find out the angle at the center? It's given straight away 90 degrees. Then B part, write the time allocated for educational programs as a fraction of the total telecasting time. So here we can see the total telecasting time. And as a fraction, what's that? Educational program. Which one is educational program? 90 degrees. So here we know this is when you take the full circle, 90 over 360. What's the fraction? That's 1/4 of a circle representing the time for educational programs. How can we answer part C? How much time has been allocated for educational programs? So here it says in the previous slide, it says altogether 18 hours a day. So here out of 18 hours, 1/4 time is given for advertisements. So what's the time? 18 divided by 4. You can divide by 2. That's 9. 9 divided by 2. You can write 4.5 hours. Then last part it says, represent in the simplest form the ratio of the time allocated for educational programs to the time allocated for recreational programs. So here, which one is recreational programs? This is 180. We can see a straight line there. So this is 180 given. So here, simplest form, the ratio between educational program. So what's the educational program? That's 90 degrees. And what about the other one? 180 degrees. So what's the simplest form? We can see 2 times bigger. So here when you simplify this, you get 1:2 ratio. We'll take the fourth part. It says if the time allocated for sports is 3 hours, find the angle at the center of each sector allocated for sports. So here we found previous part, that's 1:2 ratio between education and recreation. So these two, if this is 1/4, 90 degrees, this is 180 degrees. And here, how many hours spent for that from the previous part? It says part C for educational program, that's 4.5. So here, we'll write here education programs, this is 4.5 hours. Now they are asking if the time allocated for sports is 3 hours. So sports is this one. So this is 3 hours. And you are asked to find out the angle at the center of that sector allocated for sports. So how can we do that? We can use this information. We know 4.5 hours time is allocated for education and the angle there is 90 degrees. Now we want, if this is 3 hours, what's the angle? So we can do that. 90 divided by 4.5 times 3. Now try to simplify. So what you get? So I can multiply this by 10 and rewrite this one as 90 times 3 times 10 over 45. I know 45 times 2, 90. 2 times 3, 6. 6 times 10, 60 degrees. So here 60 degrees represent for sports. What's the last part? It says B, find the time allocated for advertisements. So which one is advertisements? This smaller part. Now we know these three should be 180 degrees. So we found out this is 60 degrees, earlier 90 degrees. 60 and 90 together you get 150 degrees. So what should be the angle at the center for advertisements? So what's that? 180 minus 150. You get 30 degrees. So now they're asking what's the time allocated for advertisements. So 30 degrees, you need to find out the time for that. We know we can use this part, this information now. 60 degrees, that's 3 hours. What about 30 degrees now? Half of that. So 3 divided by 60 multiplied by 30. That means 3 divided by 2. You get 1.5 hours. That's for advertisements. Now we'll look at example 2 in your textbook. It says the following pie chart illustrates the information on the types of crops cultivated on a certain plot of land comprising of 702 hectares. Rubber, tea, coconut and cinnamon. Answer the following questions using the pie chart. So what the first question says, which crop has been cultivated in the greatest extent of land? So when you look at this one, which angle is the highest? We can see 150, that's lines, that's rubber. Part 2, which crop has been cultivated in the smallest extent of land? This angle is the smallest, that's cinnamon. Third one, what is the extent of land on which tea has been cultivated? Tea means this part. We know altogether 720. So what's the fraction? Fraction for which one? Tea. This is 100 degrees out of 360. But we know altogether 720 hectares are there. So we can multiply by 720. So this times 2, that means 200 hectares for tea. What about the fourth one? What is the extent of land on which cinnamon has been cultivated? So cinnamon is this one. So we can find out the angle. We know the whole thing is 360. So 100 plus 150 plus 90. What you get? So 9 plus 5, 14, 1 remaining, 340. So 360 minus 340. What you get? 20 degrees. So that means this part is 20 degrees. Now you can find out the land size. So here 20 degrees divided by 360 into 720. So you get 40 hectares. For cinnamon. Now we'll look at exercise 11.2 in your textbook. So here you have given a pie chart gathered from 40 grade 10 students of a certain school regarding the type of mass media they most prefer is given below. Which type of mass media is preferred by the greatest number of children? Now look at the pie chart. When you look at the pie chart, we can see this part is the biggest one. So here that means the first answer is about television. Second part, which type of mass media is preferred by the least number? That means the lowest one. Here when you look at the angle, this is the lowest one. So that represents newspaper. Third one, if the angle at the center of the sector which denotes the children who prefer television is 162. Here, this part is given 162. Find the number of children who prefer television. So here it says altogether. How many students? 40 students. And the angle is 162 out of 360. So we multiply the fraction with the total number of students. Now try to simplify. 0 get cancelled out. 4 times 1, 4 times 9. 162 divided by 9. What's the value? 9 times 1, 9. 9 and you get 72. That's 8. So 18 students for television. So this is number of students. So 18 students prefer television. Last part, it says, if the angle at the center of the sector which denotes the children who prefer newspapers, newspaper is this one, that's 90 degrees. Find the number of children who prefer newspaper. So here, what's the fraction for newspaper? 90 over 360, and altogether 40 students are there. So you can see 90 times 4, 40 divided by 4, 10 students prefer newspapers. Now we'll look at the second question. It says the following pie chart illustrates the information on the number of patients who received treatment from the different units of hospital on a certain day. The total number of patients who received treatment at the hospital on that day was 600. So altogether 600 were there. From which unit did the most number of patients receive treatment on that day? Look at the pie chart. Which angle is the highest one? We see this angle. That's OPD unit. Second one, if the angle at the center of the sector denoting this unit, that means the OPD unit, is given as 150 degrees. So this is given 150 degrees. How many patients receive treatments from the particular unit on that day? So we can find out first the fraction value with the angle 150 degrees out of 360, and we know altogether how many people took treatment, 600. So you multiply by 600. Now try to simplify. This 0 get cancelled out with this 0. 6 times 6, 6 times 100. Then I can do divide by 2, 3 and 50 here. So 3 times 5, 15. So 5 times 50. So what is 5 times 50? 250 patients took treatments from OPD. Third one, if the number of patients who receive treatment while being hospitalized is 130. So here it's given there are 130 patients hospitalized. Find the angle at the center of the sector which denotes these patients. So we'll see the angle. So here first we can see using this one. So here we know 250 patients for 150 degrees. So we'll write down other way around. What's the angle? 150. It's 250. So 250 patients representing with 150 degrees. Now we want 130 patients. So use the simplification here. 150 divide by 250 into 130. So 100, what you get? 0, 0 get cancelled out. 5 times 3, 5 times 5. 130 divided by 5. 5 times 2, 10. For 30, 5 times 6. Then 3 times 26. 3 times 6, 18. 1 remaining. 3 times 2, 6. 6 plus 1, 7. So here they are asking what's the angle. So it's 78 degrees. Now we'll look at question number 3. It says the tickets printed for a drama were valued 1000 rupees, 500 and 200. The following pie chart illustrates the number of tickets of each type that was sold. Of what value were the tickets that were sold the most? That means the highest number. Look at the pie chart. This angle is the highest. That means 200 tickets. What's the second part? What fraction of the total number of tickets sold is the number of receipt 500 tickets sold? So here it's given 90 degrees for 500 rupee tickets. So you can write down the fraction as angle over 360. So what's the fraction? You get 1/4. Third part, the number of 1000 rupee tickets that was sold was 140. So here it's given 140 tickets sold for 1000 rupees. That was sold is 70 degree. So, and also the angle is given, this one as 70 degrees. Find the number of 200 rupee tickets that was sold. You need to find out this part. So angles are given. So you have given 90 and 70. So what's the total? You get 160. So you can find out the other angle by subtracting. 360 minus 160, you get 200 degrees, represent 200 rupee tickets. So they are asking, find the number of tickets. Now we know 200 degrees for this one. And also using this information we can say, third part, 70 degrees represent 140 tickets. Then we need to find out 200 degree angle. So what is that? 140 divided by 70 and multiply by 200. So when you do that, you can see 0 get cancelled out. 7 times 2. 200 into 2, you get 400. So 400 tickets. But they are 200 rupees price. And the fourth part, what was the total income that was received by selling the tickets? Now we can write down the values. Now here there are 400 tickets here and 140 tickets here. Now we can find out how many for this one. So altogether, is there a total number? No. So we can find out using the angle. We'll first find 500 rupees tickets. How many tickets sold? There. So here 90 degrees you need to find out. But we know 70 degrees represent 140 tickets. So what about 90 degrees? 140 divided by 70 into 90. Here we see 70 times 2, 2 times 90, 180 tickets. So altogether, how many tickets sold? 180, 500 rupees tickets. If you take 200 rupee tickets, how many? We found out that's 400. And 1000 rupee tickets, it's given 140. Now we can find out the total income that was received by selling these tickets. So here, what's the income from 500 tickets? 500 multiplied by 180. So what's that? You can multiply 0, 0, 0, 5 times 8, 40. 4 remaining, 5 times 1, 5, 5 plus 4, 9. What about this one? 200 multiplied by 400. So you get 0, 0, 0, 0, 4 times 2, 8. This one, 1000 into 140. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 14 times 1, 14. So altogether, what's the total income? You get 0, here 0. 9 plus 8, 17. 17 plus 4, 21. And 3. So what's the amount? 310,000 rupees for the income. Now we'll look at the miscellaneous exercise in your textbook. So the first question, a certain central school has classes from grade 1 to advanced level. There are 600 students in grade 1 to 5. So here I can write down this. Grade 1 to 5, there are 600 students. And 1 to, then 500 students in grade 6 to 11, 500 students. The number of students in the advanced level class is 340. So that means 12 and 13, 340 students. So we can write down this table using the given information. Represent this information in a pie chart. So here altogether, how many students are there? We can add it. 1,440 students are there. Now, how can we find out the angle at the center? So we need to find out angle at the center. So how can we find out? We know 600 students out of 1,440 for grade 1 to 5. So as an angle, you can multiply this by 360. This one, 500 students out of 1,440 into 360. This one for grade A-level classes, 340 over 1,440 into 360, or you can find the two angles and subtract from 360. So we'll try to simplify. BC 0, 0 get cancelled out. When you divide by 9, 9 times 4, 9 times 1, 9, 5 remaining 54, 9 times 6, 54. Now we see this is divisible by 4. So you get 4 times 360 is 1,440. So here all these you get 4 here. That means 600 divided by 4 for the first one. 4 times 1, 2 remaining, that's 5. So 150 degrees for grade 1 to 5. What about this one? 500 divided by 4. 5 times 1, 5. For 10, that's 2. For 20, that's 5. 125 degrees for grade 6 to 11. So what's the next one? For A-level classes, 340 divided by 4. That means 3 times 4 times 8, 32. For 20, that's 5. So 85 degrees. Now we'll check whether this is correct. By adding the angles, you get 10, 1 remaining, 6 plus 2, 8, 8 plus 8, 16, 1 remaining. So that's correct. So altogether 360 degrees. Now we can draw a pie chart. Now we can start from grade 1 to 5. That's 150 degrees. So first you can mark one line, measure 150 degrees and you can mark somewhere there. So that's grade 1 to 5. So I can draw the category grade 1 to 5. What's the next one? Grade 6 to 11, 125 degrees. So from here, 125 degrees somewhere there. So I can put another symbol. I'll put dots like this. And that represent grade 6 to 11. The rest 85 degree angle represent A-level students. So I can keep that blank. So this becomes the grade 12 to 13 or A-level students. So this is how we can show on a pie chart. Now we'll look at question number 2. It's given the information gathered from the employees of a certain factory with the aim of providing transport is given below. So mode of transport, walking, cycling and by bus, and number of employees given. Represent this information in a pie chart. So here, first thing we need to find out the total number of employees. So when you are adding all these together, what you get? 9 plus 1, 10, 1 remaining, 7, 8, 9. So 900 employees are there. Then we need to find out the angle at the center. Cycling by bus. So here 110, 100, 690. So how can we find out the angle? We can divide by. So angle at the center. So we can take the number of employees, divide by the total. Total is 900 into 360. What about cycling? There are 100 employees out of 900 into 360. What about by bus? 690 out of 900 into 360. Now try to simplify. What you get? 0, 0 get cancelled out. 9 times 10, 9 times 4. Now you can divide by 10. This 0 get cancelled out. You get 11 times 4. That's 44 degrees. This one, again you get 10 here, 4 here. 0 get cancelled out. 10 times 4, 40 degrees. This one, again like before, this is 4 and this is 10. Divide by 10, you get 69 into 4. 4 times 9, 36, 3 remaining. 4 times 6, 24, plus 3, 27. Now, check whether this is correct by adding all together. 6 plus 4, 10, 1 remaining. 8 plus 4, 12, 12 plus 4, 16. So, you get 316. So, that means it's correct. Now, we'll draw the pie chart. So, first mark the angles. So, 44 degrees. So, here first you can draw a line. 45 degrees. We can mark somewhere there. Use the protractor to measure these angles. So, then I can label this as walking. The next one, 40 degrees. From this line, you need to mark 40 degrees. So slightly lower than that. So I can put dots for that. That's cycling. Then the last part, 276. That's a reflex angle. So that's by bus. So you can keep that one blank and write by bus. So that's how you can show this information in a pie chart. Now we'll look at third question. So in the third question it says the sum of the water, electricity and telephone bills of a certain household for the month of January was 2,700 rupees. The electricity bill was 1,440 and the water bill was 750. Represent the information in a pie chart. Okay, so we'll first write. So it says water bill, electricity bill and the telephone bill. So here the telephone, the total, the sum of all together is given 2,700 rupees. That's the total. The electricity bill was 1,440. This is 1,440 and the water bill 750. And you need the telephone bill. So how can we find out? First add these two together and subtract from 2,700. So 1,440 plus 750, you get 2,190. Subtract from this, you get 510. So here we can write down this is 510. Now we'll try to find out the angle at the sector for each sector. Angle at the center. How can we find out? We know 750 rupees out of 2,700 for water bill. How can we find out the angle? You multiply by 360. Electricity bill 1,440 over 2,700 multiplied by 360. This one 510 divided by 2,700 into 360. Now try to simplify. So we get 0, 0 get cancelled out. What else? 9 times 4, 9 times 3 here, that's 30. Okay, then I can simplify further. Divide by 2, 2 here, 15 here. Then you can divide by 15. 15 times 5, 75. So here 15 times 5, 75. So 50. 50 times 2, you get 100 degrees. Now we'll do the same thing. Divide by 9, you get 4. And 30 divided by 2, you get 15 here. We'll try to divide by 15. So here 1,440 divide by 15. I can divide by 5 first. You get 3. 5 first. You get 2. 10. 4 remaining 44. That's 8. 40 again 8. So divide this by 3. You get 3 times 7. 3 times 9. 27. 1 remaining 18. 3 times 6. So 96 when you simplify this one. So 96 times 2. So what is 96 times 2? 2 times 6, 12. 1 remaining 2 times 9, 18 plus 1, 19. So 192 degrees. We'll simplify this one. Again, 9 times 4, 9 times 30, divide by 2, you get this one. 510 divided by 15. So divide by 5, you get 3. Divide by 5, you get 102. Now divide by 3 again. 3 times 3, 9. For 12, that's 4. So you get 34 times 2. 2 times 4, 8. 2 times 3, 6. Now we'll check whether it's correct. 8 plus 2, 10. 1 remaining. 10, 6. 1 remaining. So you get 360. That means your calculations are correct. Now we'll see how we can draw this information in a pie chart. So we'll take the pie chart and try to mark. So 100 degrees for water bill. So we can draw 100 is somewhere there. So that's the water bill. So I can use any pattern and mark this is water bill. So you need to mark 192. So when you draw a line here, you get 180. So that should be more than now 180. So here roughly somewhere there. So here we can mark this one as another design. What is the bill there? So 192 represent electricity bill. The next one is 68 degrees, that's telephone bill. I can keep that blank. So that's the telephone bill. So that's how we can show this information in a pie chart. Question number 4. A certain welfare society decided to select one of the following 3 cities: Polonnaruwa, Anuradhapura, and Kandy as the destination of their annual trip. 1/4 of the members expressed their preference for Polonnaruwa. So 1/4. Now it's given as a fraction. And while 36 members preferred Kandy, this is given as a number. And the remaining 54 preferred Anuradhapura. How many members did the welfare society have? Now we know when you add these two, that should be the rest of this one. So 1/4 is there. So when you roughly draw 1/4 here, the rest, that means 3/4 representing this total. So what's this total? Total to Anuradhapura and Kandy, you get 54 plus 36. 90 people. So 90 means 3/4 of a circle. So we want to find out how many members did the welfare society have. That means total number. So you can write 3/4 represent 90. So what about one part? That means you divide by 3. 90 divided by 3. That means 30 people. What about total number of parts? Total number of parts means you multiply by 4. 4 out of 4 parts. 30 multiplied by 4. You get 120. 20 people all together in the members in the welfare society. Then the second part, represent the above data in a pie chart. So we'll try to draw the pie chart. Here we have information like this. 1/4 is there. You can mark 1/4 to Polonnaruwa. What about the other ones? We need to find out the fractions. So to find out the fraction, we know altogether 120 members are there. So first we'll find out. We'll take Candy and see what's the angle for Candy. We know 36 members prefer Candy out of 120, and multiply by 360, you get the angle. So here 3 times 120, you get 360. 36 times 3, 108 degrees. So here now you can mark easily. So we know 1/4 of a circle is Polonnaruwa. So here this is Polonnaruwa. So this area Polonnaruwa we can mark. And 188 degrees for Candy. So we can mark 108 degree. This is 90, more than 100, so somewhere there. That's for Candy. Then the rest prefer Anuradhapura. So you don't need to find out the angle there. So the rest, this represent Anuradhapura. So you can draw it here. I'll draw here a blank one representing Anuradhapura. So this is how we can draw a pie chart. Now we'll look at the fifth question. It says the following pie chart illustrates the number of votes received by 4 parties at an election. The party which received the most number of votes received a total of 9,300 votes. So it says which party which received the most number of votes received a total. By looking at this, which one is the most? This angle is the higher, so this one is the most. So this represents 9,300 votes. Now they are asking, first part, how many votes in total did all 4 parties receive? So here from this information you can find out that we know 150 degrees representing 9,300 votes. Now altogether that's 360 degrees. So here we can find out the total number of votes. So 9,300 divided by 150 and multiplied by 360. So try to simplify. I can cross out this 0. 3 times 12, 3 times 5. Then I can divide 9,300 by 5. I get 5 times 1, 5, 4 remaining for 43. 5 times 8 for 30, that's 6. 0 times 12. Now multiply this by 12. So we'll do that. 1,860 multiplied by 12. That means 10 and 2. You multiply by 1 and multiply by 2. 2 times 6, 12. 1 remaining. 2 times 8, 16 plus 1, 17. 1 remaining. 2 times 1, 2. 2 plus 1, 3. So when you add together, you get 22,320. So here Altogether, how many people voted? 22,320. Now, we'll do part 2. How many votes in total did the party in third position receive? Now, third position means the third angle. When you arrange this in highest to lowest, the third angle. What do you think about this angle? First, we'll find out this angle to see which one is the third position. So here what we can do, add all these angles and subtract from 360. So here when you add 45, 75 and 150, what you get? 10, 1 remaining, 8 plus 4, 12, 8 plus 4, 12, 12 plus 5, 17, 270. So 360 minus 270, you get 90 degrees. So this representing 90 degrees. So here was what's the first position? That's this. Second position, this one. Third position is the 75 degree angle. So here they are asking, express the number of votes that party for the third position. So third position, angle is 75. Altogether we know from this information you can find out 150 degree angle represent 9,300. What about 75 degrees? So 9,300 divided by 150 multiplied by 75. So we know when you multiply by 2, 75 times 2, you get 150. So that means 9,300 divided by 2. 2 times 4, 8. For 13, that's 6. For 10, that's 5. So 4,650 votes are there for the third position party. Now the third part, it says express the number of votes that the party in fourth position received as a fraction of the total number of votes. So here this is, we can find out using the angle. So here the fourth position is this angle, 45 degrees. We know this is 45 degrees out of 360. So what's the fraction? You can divide by 9. That's 5, 40, 5 times 1, 5 times 8. So 1/8 of a circle representing the fourth position party. What about the fourth one? Using the pie chart, write down the number of votes that the party in second position received as a percentage of the total number of votes. So second position, how many votes are there? It says for the second position. Second position is this one, 90 degree angle. So we need to first find out what's the fraction. So here for the fourth part, 90 degrees out of 360. What's the fraction? We can see easily this is 1/4 of a circle. 1/4 of a circle means out of 22,320, this is 1/4. And you are asking what's this value as a percentage? Here we don't need to find out number of fourths here because we found the fractional part. So easily we can convert to percentage by multiplying this by 100. So 100 into 1/4, it's 25% votes are there for the second position. Now we'll look at the last question in your textbook. The pie chart given below illustrates the information gathered from the members of a sports club regarding the indoor sport they like the most. The number of members who like chess, the most is 8. According to the pie chart, which indoor game is liked the most by the greatest number of members? So what's the given information here? It says number of members who like chess the most is 8. That means chess is this part. This is the angle for chess. So here this represents 8 members. Which indoor game is liked the most by the greatest number of members? So by looking at the graph, which angle is the highest? We can see this is 150. What about this one? We'll try to find out this angle by adding all these together. 40, 30, 150. When you add it together, you get 220. Subtract from 360, what you get? 140. So this angle is 140. So which one is the most? This part. So this part 150 degrees. So that means carom. So what's the answer for the first part? Which indoor game? That's carom. Now we'll look at the second part. How many members like carom the most? Now we know this is 150 degrees for carom. And from this information we know 40 degrees representing for 8 members from the chess part. But we know for carom that's 150 degrees. So we can find out how many members are there for carom. So 8 divided by 40 into 150. So 0, 0 get cancelled out. 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 2 times 15. You get 30 members like carom the most. Then what's the third part? Third part says how many members like table tennis the most. So table tennis is this part 140 degrees. So we can find out how many members like table tennis. So we know 100. Again we can use this information. 40 represent 8. What about 140 degrees? So 8 divided by 40 multiplied by 140. So you can cross out 0. 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 2 times 14 is 28. So 28 members are there for tennis. In this section, we covered data representation. So basically, we did how to draw a picture graph, a column graph, and mainly we did how to draw pie charts, and using pie charts how we collect data.